going on, everyone? This is Matt, SqueakyClean Air, back to you for another installment of some fun and excitement. Today what we're going to be doing is, I'm going to be welding up some manifold brackets that I use part of my hardline installations, as well as some of my installation that I've been done, and I'm going to share with you the process. It's nothing super crazy, but we're going to weld them up, and it's a perfect way to sort of get a manifold stand that you cannot buy anywhere and fabricate it yourself. All right, so here we are. We're going to be making one of these, similar. This is a template that I've made for the dimensions of the 3P manifold. So basically I can mount it this way, and what that will do is we'll have the 3P manifold sort of vertical, and that will allow me to run lines underneath. So this is a template that I've made, or not a template, but a stand that I made for that. We're going to be making some at angles as well, but approximately this height. It elevates the manifold just enough for you to be able to sort of put it up and run hard lines, anything like that. And I have basically two templates that I've made. One for the 3P plate, and I've made one for the SqueakyClean Air management that we have, which is a digital management alternative. It's a little bit different, obviously, because they're two different manifolds. But it's a good idea first to sort of make a template. So that way you guys know, what you're working with, and you can kind of replicate the process. That way you guys are, know what sort of length you need to use. This one works perfect for the 3P for how I wanted it. So I went around and I measured it up. And this one works well for the SqueakyClean Air management. So these are going to basically be my top plates, which allow me to mount the manifold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of the stock that I have. That I obtained from metal supermarkets. Let me see what we got here. This is a little bit too big. This will probably work. Let me see how thick this plate is. It doesn't have to be exactly the same thickness. This will work. So I'll be able to sort of chop these up into the individual plates, and then I'll be able to know where I need to drill the holes and get it going. So I'm gonna go right ahead. I'm gonna mark these off. And we're going to get to cutting these up, and I'll show you guys what kind of saw I use. So one of the jobbies that I like to use is this new DeWalt saw. I picked it up because it's portable, it's battery powered, so I can take it anywhere. And it's a 7/14 or 7 1/4. And I'm using the Ceramet carbide for metal and stainless steel cutting blade. And it runs really, really, really good. It's good for threaded rod. It's good for pipes, studs, anything that you can cut. And what I do is I basically cut up all my stock. So based on the templates that I've made from the tops and from the bottoms of the for the specific manifolds that I want, I've marked these up, and I'm going to be cutting them up using this blade, using this saw, and that way it'll make my job really, really easy, and it works great because it's portable. So let's do that up and get these individual raw pieces going. So a lot of people might be going, well, why using a saw, to cut metal and all that stuff? You can just use a grinder with a cutting disc and cut it. Well, this is why. Look at the precision of these cuts. And these precision make it a lot easier when you're putting in and you're angling things so things don't look crooked. As well as it cuts so nice. Right? Everything is perfect. So when I do weld it up and I want it at an angle, it's going to be at a perfect angle. It's not going to be awkward, right? So it's all about the precision. And I like the fact that when you're running a saw like this, yes, maybe it's a big expense, but these ones are not too bad because they're portable. The blade is really, really good, but you can dial in whatever angle you want, and you're always going to get a nice, crisp, precise cut. Right? So kudos to DeWalt for making good products, obviously. But at the end of the day, it makes my life easier, right? So if I'm cutting anything, I can do it portable. I can do it wherever I want. I know I'm going to get a wicked cut. Diablo with their blades are amazing. This blade's probably gone through 100 cuts already, and it's still cutting like butter. So it's all in terms of the precision. So I do like using saw, especially like this, for cutting my stock materials and making my brackets or cutting my bracket stock, just because of the fact that it cuts precise, and I don't have to worry about having everything to be crooked. If I would use a grinder with a cutting disc, sure, it'll do the work, it'll be cheap, but the results are not going to be as nice as I'm getting with using this kind of a setup. So I'm going to continue cutting more I'm going to continue cutting more of these brackets. I already cut some of the plates that I need for the lower mounts, obviously, and for the top mounts. I'm going to make a couple of brackets that I have in stock for my manifolds and for the 3-piece, so make my installations easier. Now, I marked the holes, but what I do in order to pre-point the holes for the drilling, and we're going to get to the drilling in just a minute, I use one of these guys. It's a spring-loaded. I don't know what they're really called, but I use these, and basically what you do is you put it where you want the hole, pre-marked, and then you spring up with a spring going up like that, and then you let it go, and then by letting it go, it creates the points that you need. So these are all kind of pre-ready for drilling, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. So for drilling, what we're going to use is we're going to use this guy, a GL305, which is a cutting grease. And what I do is I usually dip my drill into this in order to provide, to have less friction when you're drilling into steel. So dip your drill bit into this. These are already pre-marked, and they're already pitted in using my spring pitter. I call it a pitter. And then I'll be able to drill these through, and I also align the middle so I know where to weld the top mounts, or sort of the risers to, and put them on my little makeshift welding plate, put them with the magnets, weld them up, and shouldn't be too hard to weld these guys up. But now we're gonna use this on top of my bit, and we're gonna drill it through, and we're gonna create some holes. So what I do, and it works for me, and it's a little bit unorthodox, is I dip my drill bit inside this actual cutting wax, and as I dip it in there, it kind of, gets a little bit of the cutting wax on top of the bit. And then what I do is when I drill into, like, for example, steel like this, it's a lot easier and there's a lot less friction. So I know you could run, you could spray WD-40 or anything like that in there and let it sit. But I just prefer to use this, and it's cheap because you get a whole pack of this for about $12.99. You know what I mean? And this lasts for like a whole year, or even not more, probably a couple of years, to be honest with you, because you really don't need much. And what I like about it is every time it kind of depletes, I can cut it up, and I put a little cap on top of it, or it comes with a cap. So it's very simple. So anytime I'm drilling into sort of a metal to save my drill bits, I always sort of dip into this cutting wax, and by doing that, as they heat up and as they go through the actual metal substrate, what happens is they lubricate it, and there's a lot less wear and tear on the actual drill bit. So save your bits. It only costs $12.99, and you know what I mean? You literally put it on the drill, dip the bit in there. As it goes in, it sort of like catches a little bit of it, and then as you're drilling through the substrate, it heats up, and then when it heats up, the wax basically lubricates the drill bit as it goes through, and thereby saving it. So that's a neat little trick I came up with that works really well. And yeah, there you go. So anyways, all these plates have been marked, and they've been drilled through. So now they're pretty much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a sanding disc, one of the flappers, and by basically sanding the edges. These are sharp edges, nice edges from that saw. Like, that saw cuts really really precisely. Let me see if I can zoom it in. You know what I mean? Nice precise cuts that you will never ever get using an angle grinder with a cutting blade. So that's one of the reasons why I also like to use that chop saw. It works well. But anyway, so these are done. So I'm gonna clean these up a little bit with a grinder. And then they're going to be ready for welding. This one's already cut up, actually. Sorry, I kind of cleaned up on the edges. As you guys can see, I don't want any sharp edges. And then once I weld these up to the risers and to the base plates, then I'll scuff them up and spray paint them nice and black, and they'll make beautiful mounting brackets. let's put another one together. So, give you one of the SqueakyClean air mounts. Perfect. They're all marked. I have them all marked. So let's do the base. This would be the base. And this would be the pedestal right in the center. This is the center right here. Okay. And again, I'm using a saw to cut a lot of these metal pieces, so I'm getting really nice and detailed edges. And that's probably one of the reasons why I bought the chop saw, is because I got sick and tired of using, one of my grinders with a grinding wheel. And then, yeah, as much as you mark it, as much as you're trying to be careful, you'll never get a nice, clean, crisp cut like I showed you guys until I started running with my DeWalt chop saw and using obviously the metal blade. There's a limited lifespan obviously because they do wear out, but I've probably made at least 100 cuts off of a $40 blade, so it's definitely worth it, and it just makes it a lot nicer when you're putting these mounts together. You know what I mean? Then you have nice cuts, and everything kind of sits, doesn't wobble, doesn't move. So it's always nice to have better results, as I think. Something doesn't seem right. Let me double check and measure it. Okay, so here's a bunch of them. Now they're all welded up and sanded down. I got to sand them a little bit cleaner and paint them. Well, that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote. Easy peasy. Quick little stands for management to incorporate in hard lines or anything like that. Bada beam, bada boom. In various configuration. All right. Hope this helps you guys out. All the best. Peace out.